What an interesting time we find ourselves in. Lavscam ramping up and the Mueller investigation wrapping up. Done, finished, nothing to see here, folks. What a curious study in contrast. What a reversal of fortune. You know, just a year ago or so, if you listen to a lot of media voices, you would have thought President Donald Trump is destined to be impeached or incarcerated or what have you. And Justin Trudeau, he was on top of the world. He'd be majority prime minister for another couple of terms. Well, not so. In fact, it could almost be the opposite now. Donald Trump cleared in his investigation in the Mueller probe for Russian collusion and obstruction of justice, something that, who knows if it will guarantee him re-election, but it's certainly going to help him in the polls and help him with voters. Meanwhile, Justin Trudeau losing a lot of support from the electorate, losing support from his own cabinet, losing support from caucus. More and more people calling, saying obstruction of justice. We see it happening right here. Is the RCMP doing a probe? Are they going to be called in? Have they already started poking around? And will there be criminal charges against somebody in the Prime Minister's office? 1, 2, or 3 people surrounding this matter. You'd think if they can muster 31 charges against Mike Duffy, they'd be able to find a handful at least for this affair. And when you compare it, when you put it all together, it's very curious, and I keep going back to this line that Mark Cuban said that Kevin O'Leary said about why he wanted to run for Prime Minister. Kevin O'Leary apparently said because the office of the Prime Minister is more powerful than the office of the American President. Not that Canada has greater weight or leverage in world affairs than the US, but the offices, when you compare them, you see what they have and what they can do and what they don't do. When it comes to the Mueller investigation, there are a whole lot of committee hearings and things that were going on that the American president just didn't necessarily have control over. Whereas when you look here in Canada, well, it's completely within the right of the Prime Minister to appoint who he wants to be a chairman of a committee, the Justice Committee, say, the Ethics Committee. And while the Prime Minister doesn't directly oversee every decision that these committees make, the fact that the cover-up vote moved so quickly and that the Liberal MPs shut down the Justice Committee does suggest that the order came from on high.
Mr. McKinnon?
What a shame.
What a shame. Cover up!
Mr. Barrett?
Cover up!
No, it's a cover-up. I'm voting against
Mr.
the
Cooper?
cover-up.
I'm voting against this cover-up.
As for the public inquiry, why haven't we seen one yet? Because it's up to the Prime Minister to call one. So we have 2 different examples that look at the different powers of the Prime Minister and the President. We also look at what they can do and choose to do. Donald Trump could have closed things down and fired other people. And there's a lot of breathless conversation in the American commentariat about whether Trump is imminently going to fire this person or that person, what it will mean, and how there would be, people running for the exits and crying for impeachment unlike ever before if that happened. Well, it didn't happen, and Donald Trump let this investigation proceed, even though he was clearly unhappy with it, didn't like it, called it a witch hunt, and said there was nothing to see here, folks. But he let it happen. Justin Trudeau has likewise said that these whole reports about Lavscam are false.
The allegations in the Globe story this morning are false. Neither the current nor the previous Attorney General was ever directed by me or by anyone in my office to take a decision in this matter.
That was his initial talking point. We've now realized they are not false. People on the Justice Committee, Randy Bossino, liken this to fake news and liken this to a witch hunt. So similar sort of narrative, and yet they shut down the Justice Committee.
And for the other side to engage in some sort of rank amateur speculation that somehow one corporation is going to move the government of Canada to change our laws is specious.
Donald Trump not shutting down those probes, not firing anyone. Justin Trudeau having these committees shut down. A really curious study of contrasts. Really interesting place that we found ourselves in. Who knew a couple years ago that this reversal of fortune would have taken place?